My name is Frans van Vugt. It's a Dutch name. I am Dutch. I work at the European Commission level with the President of the European Commission in higher education and research and innovation policies. I used to be University President in the Netherlands, and I have a number of other international functions that I'm involved in, all in higher education and research.
Which university?
University of Twente in the Netherlands, which is one of the three technical universities.
You were talking about, in your presentation, you were speaking specifically about a new program that you're developing. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. This is called EUMultiRank, which is basically a global multi-dimensional ranking tool for higher education and research institutions. That's what it is. What it intends to do is to make transparent what the profiles in terms of performance profiles of higher education and research institutions are in a number of different fields, in teaching and learning, in research, in knowledge transfer, in international orientation, and in regional engagement. And this tool is being developed, designed, and has been tested now worldwide, for about 150 institutions in the pilot, in order to find out whether that can provide better information to stakeholders than the current existing international rankings that have such a large impact on higher education worldwide.
What do you see as the, I guess what I'm wondering is, since there are so many ranking services, what will this provide that the current ones do not?
Two basic things. There are two things that make this one very different from the existing one. The first is that it is not limited to mainly research activities, research impact, research reputation. That's what most of the current global international rankings use as the most important set of indicators. This one also looked, as I just said, at the other dimensions like teaching and learning and knowledge transfer. So it tries to give a broader picture. The other thing is that it is 100% completely user-driven. So it's up to the user, whether they are students or faculty or institutional leaders, or for that matter, business and industry and policymakers. It's up to them, the user, to decide which choices they make with respect to what they think is important, and therefore which selection of indicators they produce, and then they use those indicators to create their own personalized rankings.
Oh, so it's sort of like the democratic version of university ranking.
Yeah. Some people told me that this democratizes ranking. So you're right on top there. Yeah.
Okay. You spoke about transparency and diversity as being important in the coming years, and that universities are sometimes hesitant to be transparent. What are the factors that make them hesitant to be transparent?
I think universities, some of the universities I should say, certainly not all, some of the universities still have the feeling that they are not really related to society at large, to the economy. They still have, from that perspective, some of them do in the 19th century, when in the old Humboldtian tradition, the universities were kept as far away as possible from what was going on in society. They should not be related to the church, they should not be related to the king, they should not be too much involved in society to do their good work in the development of knowledge. Now that has changed, of course, completely. And now in the 21st century, we're all living in the knowledge societies. Knowledge production and knowledge diffusion is one of the most important things for economic, socio-economic development. Therefore, universities, higher education institutions should definitely be very intimately related to society. And some institutions are still hesitant to do so. They still live, if I may say so, in a past time, past era, and have the feeling that they perhaps should be less clear and less transparent about what they are doing than what society really needs.
So, what ways can a university, what practical steps, just a few, can a university take to be more transparent?
To get to know itself as good as it can. So know what you're doing, what your profile is as a university. Know how much you are involved in research, or are you only limitedly involved in research. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. How well are you performing in teaching and learning? How well are you regionally engaged? In what ways? Are you heavily engaged, or are you mainly focused on international competition, not so much engaged in your region? Those kind of things. So try to find out and collect data. Try to find out who you are, and then try to find who also looks like you look. So if you find institutions with similar profiles, and then try to compare yourself and work your way up by using benchmarking or something.
This may be a little bit from the side, but a lot of people here at the EUPRIO conference are discussing free content from universities, for example, free lectures and free educational content. Do you think that also falls under this sort of umbrella of transparency, or is it something?
Well, I see what you mean. Yeah, free content, free delivery of educational services, I assume, educational products, is a choice an institution can make, and I think it's a very attractive choice. And then this choice becomes part of your profile. If a number of institutions say, no, we are going all the way in providing free accessibility to whatever content we have produced, like MIT has done in the US, that becomes part of who you are and how you are known in the rest of the world. And this also gives you the idea that whatever you produce should be available for everybody, because the quality is good anyway, etc. So it shows that you're self-confident. It also shows that that you're reaching out to the outside world. So I think it's a good thing, but it's up to the institutions to do so. I think it's a good idea.
Well, I think there are hundreds of universities already on iTunes University, and you can download lectures and watch them for free. That's another topic we're discussing. There's a new initiative at this conference to begin the discussion for the next conference now, and then kind of go over it for a year and then tackle it. And one of the main parts of that is the social contract between a university and society. As part of the social contract, what kind of things do you think a university should offer to the people?
There are many stakeholders outside, but as part of the social contract, I think the choice of the stakeholders that the institution wants to relate to is crucial. If you say, well, our main stakeholders are the regional business firms that we relate to and that we try to help to stimulate by providing information, by providing research output, by offering knowledge, and by offering our graduates, that is a way to relate. A completely different way would be to say, well, we want to create open access as much as we can, and also stimulate those who not always easily find their way into higher education, and therefore we have special programs for enrollment, etc. That's a completely different stakeholder group, and that's another way of reaching out. My point would only be social contract, excellent. Then try to decide who the stakeholders, who the actors are. It could be more than one, with whom you want to have those social contracts.
There's a lot of talk here as well about how universities need to function more like businesses. And of course, along with that, you get your questions about proprietary content and copyright. And I wonder to what degree can a university be more transparent and offer free content, but still run itself like a business? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, if you decide that you want to provide free content as part of the portfolio of activities that you're doing and the products that you're producing, that implies, by definition, I assume, that the earning capacity there is limited, if not zero. Therefore, there will have to be other products and services that you can perhaps make some money on.
Well, like students.
Tuition fees, I don't know what. Or research contracts or what have you, or be subsidized by funders like governments, etc. But it's a matter of, again, I'll come back to this, to choice. So you want to be something, and you can try to be an open access institution or providing free content to society. At the same time, if you want to survive, there will also have to be an income. And that income can come from various sources. You cannot exist from being without income.
It's a slippery slope, I guess.
It's difficult, yeah.
You said during your presentation today that rankings will not go away. And I'm wondering, do you think that the amount of free content or the amount of, or even the satisfaction of the social contract, is that a factor that's in your system, and if not, should it be?
Satisfaction of free content?
The provision of free content. If a university provides free educational material, should it have should be better ranked, I guess is the question.
Again, see, the ranking that I try to show to the world is a ranking that's completely user-driven. So if a user group, not necessarily me because I don't decide, if a user group would say, well, we find free provision a very crucial indicator, then it should be an indicator to be used in that ranking. So if an organization would say, well, we are very much in favor of free provision of educational services and products, and we will rank the universities of the world according to how far they're doing this. Well, that's a ranking. It could be used. Yeah, it could be used in dimension, what we call the dimension teaching and learning.
Well, that sounds very open-minded.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I think that's about it. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about while you're here? Anything you'd like to mention?
Well, for EUPRIO, I would like to say, as I said during the meeting, that I do think there's an enormous challenge for communication officers and those people involved in communication with society looking at these new developments in transparency tools. It will have an impact on how communication processes are shaped, how they take place in institutions, what the roles of communicators will be in the future. So I would like to stimulate EUPRIO to take that up and make that perhaps one of the topics for the years to come.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Pleasure.